So I'm sure a lot of you are aware Stop Killing Games has massively exploded in terms of support, gaining over 1 million signatures for the movement itself. Now, I believe it's up to about 1.3 million signatures right now. And Stop Killing Games is obviously being fought against by multiple people, some of which are even in governmental groups. However, recently, and this is pretty huge, we found this out about 9 hours ago, Stop Killing Games apparently has gained the support from the vice president of the European Parliament. Now, this is insane. This is a wild, wild development in this story because this is going to be probably looked back on as a major moment in the push to stop killing games. So let's see what's going on here. The Stop Killing Games movement has just gained a major ally in the form of European Parliament Vice President Nikolai Stefanuta. I don't know how I'm saying that. Originally started by YouTuber Ross Scott in 2024 over the delisting of the crew, the Stop Killing Games movement has been building support with the goal of preventing online multiplayer titles from being shut down, which prevents fans from being able to play them in any capacity. Now, I think it's amazing that the crew has resulted in all of this happening, right? Because the crew has also resulted in Ubisoft getting sued, which is still happening, by the way. That lawsuit is still happening. The crew against with Ubisoft, that is a still ongoing lawsuit. It has not ended. So we are going to end up seeing the result of that as well. But the crew has also resulted in Stop Killing Games becoming a thing. And now it's obviously exploded into the stratosphere. But Stop Killing Games has also caught the attention of video game companies that are obviously fighting back and people who used to work for them. Publisher group Video Games Europe, which I recently covered, spoke out against the Stop Killing Games movement, arguing that shutting down failed multiplayer titles is necessary to save money and protect user data from being hacked. Likewise, former Blizzard Entertainment developer Jason Thor Hall, who everybody knows as Pirate Software, has publicly opposed Stop Killing Games since its inception, believing that preserving every multiplayer title is unfeasible and that requiring it would discourage developers from making such games in the first place. So everybody knows that Pirate Software is getting the brunt of the shit that is being thrown his way for obvious reasons. I mean, listen, the guy is doubling down, tripling down at this point, quadrupling down on his beliefs and whatever. That is fine. That is his beliefs that he's allowed to have. But clearly, a lot of people disagree. And due to his nonsense, Stop Killing Games has exploded into the stratosphere with obviously Charlie making a video on Pirate Software, resulting in all of this really exploding and going down in the first place. But it says, regardless, Stop Killing Games is still building support among consumers, big and small, with one major name now joining the growing list. Nikolai Stefanuta, the vice president of the European Parliament, recently took to Instagram to express his support for the Stop Killing Games movement, even signing the recent European petition himself. So he's not only endorsing it, right? He's not only endorsing it, but the man signed the fucking thing himself. That is crazy. That is a massive, massive win for Stop Killing Games. And this has to have certain people coping and seething. I can only imagine what some studios are thinking right now, looking at someone who is part of the European Parliament, signed the movement himself. That is a huge, huge move for this particular situation. But it says, I stand with the people who started this citizen initiative. His Instagram post reads, I signed and will continue to help them. A game once sold belongs to the customer, not the company. The official Stop Killing Games Blue Sky account then shared a screenshot of Stefanuta's message. Bro, based. Absolutely based. A game once sold belongs to the customer, not the company. Absolutely fucking based, man. Fantastic. You love to see it. You love to see it. So you can see the post here on Blue Sky. Unfortunately, they did it on Blue Sky. I don't know why we're doing it on Blue Sky. Like, what's wrong with you? I don't know. Put it on X. You'll get a lot more, interaction, but whatever. Anyway, they put this post here, obviously showcasing the message that was on his Instagram story, which is great. The petition that Nikolai signed has officially amassed over 1,350,000 signatures, well over its 1 million signature target. The webpage for the Stop Killing Games initiative is letting curious gamers track the petition signatures as they increase across the European Union. And smaller petitions have been cropping up in countries like Germany, France, and Australia. This is bad for them. This is bad for them. this is where it's going to get really, really ugly for the companies. And I'm sure that a lot of companies, like, the big companies, Ubisoft, Microsoft, who else? Fucking EA, Nintendo, all these companies are looking and they're noticing that this is slowly but surely becoming a fire that they're not going to be able to put out, right? They had an opportunity to put this fire out a long time ago. They chose not to. And now we are here where this thing is getting so big that it has people like this signing the petition. That's gonna be a big fucking problem for them. I wouldn't be surprised if you're gonna have some of these companies start announcing changes to their EULA to try to either bend the knee to the movement or try to fight the movement with their EULA. And I'm sure they already started. Some of them have, to be honest with you. But I'm sure this is going to be something that's going to become a war in gaming. Only time will tell if the Stop Killing Games movement and its growing grassroots support will lead to any change in the gaming industry. But the fact that the world leaders are now voicing their solidarity with the initiative shows how much its message is resonating with the public. The issue of how long companies should continue to support online multiplayer titles and if they should remain active forever is one that many have an opinion about, with plenty speaking out for it and against it. Stop Killing Games as a result. So this is going to be a bloodbath for sure. This is going to be a back and forth. It's going to last years. This is not something that's going to be fixed within, a year or less. This is something that's going to take many years. But I think what's going to come of this is in the future, we are going to see a lot more digital rights given to consumers. Because as I say all the time in many videos, digital rights have not caught up. Unfortunately, they are so far behind. Digital sales have far surpassed digital rights, where we are selling things digitally more than we ever have by a large margin. But digital rights for consumers have not caught up to the amount of sales and the reliance that a lot of consumers have on digital products. So it ends up being a situation where something like this becomes really important because we no longer have physical games that they can't kill off, right? Even our physical games are now only coming with barely any data on it. And now we have to download the entire game even after we put the disc or the cartridge into the system. So it's not the same, man. These companies are trying to control everything. They're trying to take your money and kill the fucking game 5 to 10 years later. Some of these games don't even last 5 to 10 years. I'm looking at you, Concord. Luckily, Concord refunded the money because they had to, because they didn't even last 10 days. But there's other companies like Suicide Squad, for example. Suicide Squad only lasted 1 year. They took all the money, and now they're killing the game. Now, granted, they put an offline mode, but obviously it doesn't run the way that it did when it was online. The simple point is they will do everything they can to try to control the product. Take your money, control your money, and control the product and your access to it. That shit has to end. When you buy a game, you should be able to have the game indefinitely. Now, obviously, there are certain games that can't happen with. MMORPGs are probably the prime example of games that probably cannot happen with, or there would have to be some strategy that would come up in place that could work for an MMO. But I highly doubt that would be the case. You know what I mean? I think for an MMO, that's the one exclusion that we can have. But everything else, there's no reason, right? Single player games with online multiplayer, there's no reason why you should be losing access to those games. There's no reason why a game like The Crew should have been removed and lost access from completely. There's no fucking reason that should have happened. So I'm glad that game sparked not only one of the biggest movements in gaming right now, but also what is going to be a very important lawsuit against Ubisoft, the company that started doing that in the first place. So you guys can let me know, again, in the comments down below, what do you think about this? I think this is pretty huge. The fact that the vice president of the European Parliament has officially signed Stop Killing Games, that's huge in my opinion. And I feel like this is only going to be the beginning of bigger and bigger people joining this particular movement. Let me know whatever that may be in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching this video. And if you enjoyed it, consider hitting the like, and I'll see you guys on the next one.